It is April 14th. We're here at the Balboa Island Museum with Ed Hubbard. It's 1 p.m. And our first question would be, what is your earliest memory of the island?
The earliest memory of the island would be during World War II, lights were out.
What was that like? What was the feeling?
Still lights.
Just
Blackouts.
Right.
Yeah, they're afraid of the Japanese
Yes.
bombing us, I guess. Of course, they didn't get this far, but that's all right. So yeah, the blackouts. A lot of Balboa at one time, not so much the island, but the peninsula, was the place to go. And the reason why is because in the late 30s and early 40s, there was only 4 dance halls in Southern California. One was in Culver City, one was in Pasadena, and one was here in Newport Beach. I forgot where the heck the other one was. And so with gas rationing during the war years, this is a place to go. That was long before Palm Springs, long before the river. And so there was a lot of young people down there. If you lived in South Pass, San Marino, Pasadena, you ask grandma, uncle, aunt, anybody, if you get 4 gallons a week, you had a stamp. And to come down here was 6 gallons. So, and if you wanted to stay for a week or two, well then of course you had a couple bucks to get home too. So, in those days you could sleep on the beach. You can't sleep on the beach anymore. And and the fun zone was one of the major places. It's pretty trashy today. Not trashy, it just, there's nothing there. There's no reason for anybody to go to the peninsula anymore, except for surfing. But the old fun zone area was the central spot. Then of course the ferry going back and forth, and for those that couldn't afford the nickel, we swam on the peninsula over here. Walked around. Wasn't anything over here in the war years to speak of. It didn't start till in the, probably in the 50s, 60s started to pick up a little bit more. And then of course, then you had, in the earlier years you had, party houses on Easter, party houses on summertime, and during the winter probably Balboa Island never had more than 200 or 300 people. Now we've got 3,000 or so permanent residents.
When did you move here? What year was that?
Well, that's kind of funny. I lived in Seal Beach at the naval base, which is now the naval base. Okay, it used to be called Anaheim Landing, and it was a typical beach community. And the lady that I lived with, her daughter, loved to dance, and so we'd come down here so she could dance with boys. She was only 15, you're supposed to be 16, it cost you 50 cents to get in. Cokes were a nickel, and if you didn't get caught, you had a good time. And so Betty would come down and we'd dance. Oh, the other dance hall that is, if you ever go to Huntington Beach on the pier, right on the, I think it's called Duke's, it's a hamburger joint, it used to be called the Papillon.
Okay.
And that was a big dance hall also, and big name bands at the time. So that would be all, let's see, the late 30s, then the war years, the same thing, back and forth and back and forth. I permanently moved here Christmas of '59. And I guess I've been here ever since.
Wow. What was your reason to move here that particular year?
Action. Why do you think girls go to Palm Springs? Why do you think boys go to Palm Springs? Same idea. It just, the concept of boy-girl stuff has never changed through the century. Read the Roman history. You want to know about adolescence. So, and you follow it all the way through, even to the Goethe. That's it. Wherever the action is where the sports people like to go.
Right. What was your first residence on the island in '59? Is it the address that you're currently at, or is it?
No. Let's see, where was my first one? Right around the corner, 224 Onyx. That was number one.
How has that particular neighborhood changed throughout the years?
No, it's right behind our store. Onyx is next street over.
So it hasn't changed too much?
No, just different people. Well, obviously some of the cute little houses have gone, and monster houses have gone in, but otherwise the street's still the same. Different kinds of people, but the street's the same. Still hard to park during the summer, Easter vacation.
Why would you say the island holds such a special place in your heart since you moved here in '59 and never left?
Attraction of the people, the friendliness, easy come, easy go. You've got the desert to go to if you want to. You got the mountains to go to if you want to. You got Catalina to go to. Oh, you could do the big Hollywood story if you want to do that. You can go on a vacation around the world if you want. But you know, it's secure. That's probably the best word, secure.
Mm-hmm. Would you have a favorite Balboa Island story that brings back fond memories of your childhood, or even that inner child within you?
Oh God. I suppose like a lot of young men at 15, 16, 17, doing like everybody else, gangs of boys would sit on the corner and yell at the girls as they came around the corner. That hasn't changed, just a different generation doing the same thing.
Was there a particular spot that the boys would gather? We've learned at different locations through other interviews.
Yeah, right up in the corner
central.
on Marine and what's the street going
Is
down
it
the ferry?
Park? Oh, Marine and Park, or Park and Agate?
No.
Park.
Yeah. Is it Park?
Yeah, Balboa and Park.
Right, that's right, yeah.
No problem.
Well, the reason why is because one of the better restaurants that used to be here. Well, the other thing is, that corner used to belong to a gal that lives here on the island, Patty Riley, and her daddy was a pharmacist. And for those of us that would be tempted to stay out too late or do something mischief, he always be able to concoct some crazy chemical that you can't do it today, it's against the law, and make you feel better. And so that was the congregation. And the next door was a place called the Jolly Roger.
Yes.
And you probably heard of that one before. Other people have spoken that one. And good food. And Chow's right up here used to be Bob's Big Boy. So you had the selection of two people. If you wanted to date the girls from Newport Harbor, you only had one high school. If you wanted to date the girls from Newport Harbor that were cheerleaders, you took the ones out from the Jolly Roger. If you wanted a working girl that was more familiar, then you take the girls out from Bob's Big Boy. So you had your choice. Sometimes you had no choice, just get out of here.
How have the establishments changed over the years?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I think the longer you're here, you just simply stay and meet new people, because obviously your friends have disappeared for what reason. And so you just constantly meet new people and change acquaintances. You don't change so much the serious friends, but you change the normal acquaintances that would come and go. And so your loyalty to the island basically is just plain longevity. That's all there is to it.
Do you have special holiday memories that relate to the island, either personal or communal, since that seems to be an important part of this community?
No, just the fireworks from the Back Bay. Used to be fireworks, I think, from the pier years and years and years ago. You don't see much of that anymore. Actually, just the standard walking around and being social. That's it. I mean, that's one of the keys. So,
How has the island become a home to you? Is there a particular way that's happened?
I'll paraphrase that again.
How has the island become more of a home to you? Is there a particular reason you feel it become, with people
No,
who live here,
no.
or the house itself, or?
Now, once you drive over that bridge, it's a whole feeling. It's a whole feeling. And you drive over the little bridge to the little island, it's the same thing. So you get a double whammy. It's kind of like, it's a breath of fresh air when you drive over the bridge. Not everybody enjoys it because transits come and go and they like it and people stay here, but probably one of the wildest times we had on the island was in the 60s during the Vietnam War, because the blimp station was a helicopter station out by Santa Ana Air Base, and this place was filled on a regular basis with young second lieutenants, warrant officers getting ready to go to Vietnam. Then there was an increase in female school teachers. They just grew like crazy because we were expanding. We had one high school, and then we went to Croto Del Mar High School. Then we went to a couple other high schools. We eventually wound up with 6 high schools as opposed to 1. And so there was availability of the 20s to 30-year-olds for activities.
What would you say is the significant change from the World War II era to Vietnam, because this being a very central base?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, because this was filled. Well, I'll go back one. When I was 15 years old, I lived here most of my life, but my dad had 50 acres of oranges just 2 miles west of Knott's Berry Farm. So once in a while, he and I'd have a tissy. And so I'd grab my backpack and I'd come down here for a week or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And one year I came down here and I missed the first half of my junior year at high school, Anaheim High School. And the USO was on the other side. They were building ships up at Lido, and the Navy was down here. And I was only 15, but I ran with some nice people. Then there were 2 places that the USO had established for sleeping quarters for the service person and eating quarters. And luckily I was able to get into both at just about any time I wanted to. So I was never hungry, and I didn't have a place to bed. I always had a bed, I should say. So the peninsula's always been a favorite for us, especially around old Balboa. That's where, again, all the action was, because of the military activity and because of the gas rationing. That's why I see it in those years. I don't know exactly what was going on this one. I think mainly this was just residential. A few things up and down and through here. This is more of a smaller village. We had 2 major markets here on the island, Hershey's, and here in the candy store up top, Boardman's. They were always in competition with each other. We had 2 hamburger joints, again, Jolly Roger and Bob's Big Boy. Where the Chinaman is right now was a Mexican restaurant, and it was really good food. They moved out years and years and years ago. Where the persimmon tree was a Shell gas station. Where the fire station is now, there is a 76 gas station. And those 2 gas stations were in competition with each other. And we had our own hardware store. And we had 3 barber shops, 4 ladies shops, TV repair, clothing stores of different kinds, but it was more of a, I don't think we had a bank in those years. I think we had to go to Corona Del Mar for a bank. That was before Bayside ever was put together. So when that started, then it took a lot of business off. So the markets kind of filtered down, and what Hershey's is today is not really a market, it's just kind of a catch-all. A little of this, a little of that. But in its heyday, well, I tell you, it had some of the finest meats, some of the finest vegetables you could ever get your hands on. So the village just changed from permanent village, small permanent village with everything you needed, to touristy stuff. And that's what we're engaged in, basically. You know, we have a number of permanent people that live. We're still getting grandmothers from way back when. We're getting granddaughters now. And so, but it's still, if you don't, those of us that are in business, if you don't rely on the visitor, you don't get anything.
Would you share about the establishment of Persimmons in 65?
I don't really remember too much about it. My sister-in-law started it. It was called Just Bikinis, and she sold, that's exactly what she sold. And then she decided to change it into something else, Persimmondry, and then she went mail order business on a different location, and my wife took it over, and then little by little, Joyce wanted to get rid of it, so the family put some funds together and were able to take care of it. So basically it's been in the family since 65.
That's neat. What year approximately did your wife start working with it?
Well, probably 66, 67, something on there. I just put a question mark on that one.
Sure. Would you share about any of your favorite stories about celebrities you might have encountered at the island?
The only one that was here on a regular basis was Buddy Ebsen. He lived down by the ferry, and he'd walk by, and he would come down the mailbox, and he'd shoot the breeze. But the more celebrities were the ones that I used to see over on the peninsula in the war years. The Orson Welles had married a beautiful woman by the name of Rita Hayworth, long flowing hair, and they had a beautiful yacht. And on the way to Catalina, to tease all the boys, they kind of coast close to the far side, and she'd sit back in the back, and this beautiful red hair would just flow, and the faster he would go, the faster that hair flowed. And then another fellow was kind of a little playboy, a fellow by the name of Earl Flynn, and he seemed to always get into trouble with young ladies, but he always had a boat full of ladies on a regular basis going to Catalina for the weekend. And of course, John Wayne lived over on the mainland, and he would come by once in a while with one of his boats. Oh, let's see what it is. Once in a while, for whatever reason, I don't remember why now, but you see Dorothy Lamour on a boat as she was cruising by. I only saw her once or twice that I recall. I used to see Rita Hayworth on a regular basis on the other side during that particular period of time. So that would be in the 40s. But on this side, Buddy Ebsen was the only one that I know. They say that Shirley Temple used to be here quite a bit, but I never did see her. Never did. Never did. She also had a place over in the peninsula, and I used to see her in the peninsula once in a while, because she's only 2 years older than I am. And so, of course, she's not with us anymore.
Would you share about any life-changing events that occurred to you at the island? Whether they be a personal story or communal?
I don't know. Nothing's changed. I mean, I'm just doing the same thing I've been doing ever since I got on this crazy island. anything extra. I mean, nothing that would be substantial for your report. Let's see. Silent in time put me through 8 years of college. Put me 31 years teaching at Corona Del Mar High School. Same room, same high school. Lived in the island all those years. I've known my wife since she was 16 years old. She's now 70. We haven't been married that long because we both got married once and went our ways and then reunited. And so just a lot of fun little heart-filled things. I can't really, nothing major. I mean, no fire, no earthquake, none of that kind of stuff.
Would you have a favorite story about a business on Marine Avenue, even if that business does not exist today?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I think so. Probably one of the barber shops used to be up a little bit further. And Phil would, he used to give haircuts for 50 cents a piece. He went up to 75 cents. And then one day he came in and he says, okay, he said, everybody in the shop, the haircuts are now going up to $1.50. And why? He says, because I went and got another piece of paper and I am a hair, what did he call himself? A hairstylist. Then he not only wanted $1.50 a haircut, he wanted 25 cents tip on top of that. Now, that doesn't seem like very much money today, but in those early years when you're only making 75 cents, 80 cents an hour, it took a couple of hours of work to get a crazy haircut. So, yeah. But no, not really. The television man, which was right across the street, we just take some piece of junk in there, and I don't know why, magically it always worked 3 days later. You couldn't make it working. And again, Mr. Riley, the pharmacist down at the corner, way down at the other end. He always took care of you if you had a funny little head problem. What else? It was fun watching the early fire trucks try to get out of the fire station next door. Squeeze in, squeeze out, before they put the new one down the other end. But I think most of us, my generation, of my age, and my philosophy was, we just spent more time on the beach. That's all we did. That's all we did. Study, play, go to the beach. And we didn't have to walk very far either.
Well, thank you for a significant history. We really appreciate your time